Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing great and following the 3H's of the channel. In this video, I have the encounters of a man who lived on a farm in South Africa. So, if that sounds like something you're interested in, pull up a stump with me and let's get into it. Thank you for watching. I've never really talked or posted about these before. I used to live on a farm in South Africa, and as you can imagine, I did have some strange encounters there. I don't exactly know where to start, so I'll just list off some of the encounters first, and then I'll go into more detail later. So first off was this thing that we called the Lurker. It was approximately 6 feet tall, a naked humanoid. If you've ever seen a picture of that thing called the rake, that's pretty much it. This was located usually in the East Forest. It was looking in at my house, creeping around in the bushes. He was kind of a nasty effer. Pretty sure he was responsible for killing a bunch of my chickens. He never attacked people on my farm. He would always run away screaming like a pig if you shot at him. He was honestly genuinely terrifying, and he scared the hell out of me on a few occasions. Comes out of nowhere, especially in the late afternoon into the night. 2. The Gremlins. These 1 to 2 foot tall bipeds with jet black fur and bright green eyes. The best description I can give you is like a cat-monkey hybrid. These were located in the West Forest. I usually saw them near my cabin. My ecologist buddy saw some with me one day. He says that he thinks that there's some sort of rare offshoot species of monkey, but he's not really sure. They're curious little critters. They usually never cause me much trouble, but they definitely scared the hell out of me on a few occasions. They were pretty intelligent, even for monkeys. I've seen them hold sharp sticks, like weapons. And then, there's the tree man. This one was weird. I've only ever seen him twice that I can remember, but I've dreamt of it multiple times after the first encounter. My pagan/witch friend says that it's a fae spirit. I don't really believe it, but maybe you do. He was pretty damn tall, like 9 or 10 feet. He had a vaguely humanoid shape, but I never saw him move. He would appear in a place that I know that there never was a tree, only to look back and he was gone. So like I said, I'll start with the first one, the Lurker. There have been a few posts that I've seen on the internet that kind of match the description of this creature, so it may be a similar entity. Who knows? Anyways, it was a few years ago. I was 18. I was chilling in my room at night. I was playing games with some friends. The internet was slow as all hell, but at least it worked. My bedroom windows directly faced the East Forest. I got them cracked open because it was super hot that day. I take my headphones off and light up a cigarette. Then I hear something move outside. There's lots of deer and stuff in the area, so I just kind of ignore it at first. A few minutes later, I hear another noise, and then I hear something tap on my window pretty loudly. See, initially I don't care because I have a Great Dane that would get up on its hind quarters and lean in on my window with his front paws, usually because she wanted to sleep inside. But then a moment of realization smacks me like a train. My dog died, very suddenly, a week or 2 prior. It hadn't exactly completely set in by then that she was actually gone. And then I thought, if it's not my dog, what the hell is leaning on my window? The spotlight outside cast a shadow on the curtains of somebody just standing there. I yell out, "Holy shit, WTF. I think somebody's trying to break in." My shotgun is upstairs. I bolt over to my cupboard and grab a paintball gun. As I slam the cupboard doors open, I hear rustling outside. I rip the curtains open and push the window, paintball gun ready. There's nothing close to my window anymore, but I'm scanning the tree line, and then I see it, peeking out from behind a tree, occasionally ducking back, and then peeking out again. It's that Lurker thing. My heart was pounding into my throat. I empty out the paintball gun. I didn't even think I hit it, but the noise definitely scared it away. As it's running away, it starts shrieking, kind of like a distressed pig would, but much raspier. I assume that since my big-ass dog wasn't in the yard anymore, this thing got the absolute balls to come closer to the house. This next one is more of a complicated story, the tree man. So it was a boring Sunday. I was doing nothing. I decided to take a walk to the cabin and chill there for the day. I packed a bag, air rifle, water, ciggies, a power bank for my phone, a can of Monster, and a shitty Bluetooth speaker. For me, this was going to be a good day. I walked to the cabin. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes if you walk at a pretty brisk pace. So I set up at the cabin. I put the bag in the shade and start pumping jams on the speaker. I was shooting at bottles and shit with my pellet gun. I did this for about 4 hours. I lost track of time because I was enjoying myself. At some point, it gets really hot, even for that time of year, even for Africa. I start sweating bullets and I sit down in the shade. I crack open the Monster, light my cigarette. I'm thinking, this has been a pretty good day besides the heat. As I'm going about my business, something suddenly grabs my attention. North of the cabin, still in the clearing, there's a tree with 2 trunks that join into one higher up. That wasn't there before. It's literally like 15 feet away from me. I look higher up, 2 branches on either side, almost like arms. Arm branches are slightly outspread, like it was about to embrace something. The more I look, the more this thing looks human. The branches that make up its legs, arms, and torso actually have definition. This tree thing is built like a really tall, really skinny human. I reckon that it has to be about 10 feet tall. I realize that my ears are now ringing. I think they had been the whole time that I was looking at the thing. The thing that made my blood go cold were the 2 white eyes this thing had, just staring at me, unblinking. It feels like I've been staring at this thing for hours when I eventually snap out of it. My eyes hurt. I blink hard a few times and rub my eyes. When my eyes eventually refocus, I look back at the spot where it was standing. It's gone. For the next few weeks, I keep dreaming of this thing. The dreams are always the same. It's me standing in a clearing, and this scary effing tree is just staring at me. Occasionally, it gets a little bit closer until I shit bricks and wake up. And as for the Lurker, you might be wondering if I think that these are supernatural entities. I used to be a hardcore skeptic before I moved on the farm. My parents were too. But when your atheist dad all of a sudden starts carrying a shotgun around outside at night in case he needs to shoot the Lurker, you begin to open up to the possibility of the supernatural. Still, my skeptic brain kicks in every now and then. I think about the possibility that the Lurker is just a feral human, and perhaps the Gremlins are just monkeys that hadn't been documented yet. We discover new species of animals every so often, so it seems kind of possible. The only thing that I really trip up on when trying to be skeptical is the tree man. I know what I saw, and that MFer doesn't like me very much. My pagan friend heard my description of it and was convinced that I encountered some kind of fae or forest spirit. She tried to convince me that it was mad at us for cutting down all the trees, and that the land must have been sacred. It did get me thinking. A few months before I first encountered the tree man, we were burning fire breaks, and I accidentally let the fire break catch a huge drove of dead grass. It was the dumbest mistake I ever made. I'd say about 70% of the West Forest was burnt down in that fire. It took 2 days and all of our neighbors to help stop the damn thing. The whole thing is something that makes me deeply sad whenever I think about it. is that I'm pretty sure that the fire may have also burned straight through those gremlins' habitat. I never saw them again. Sure, they spooked me once or twice, but overall they seemed harmless. I really hope that they just moved. But yeah, maybe the tree man is the angry spirit of the forest. It would make sense if my pagan friend is right. But yeah, as for the gremlins, I'd like to talk about them next. They were pretty chill. I think I got about 2 interesting stories about them to share. So, for this first one, I was chilling at the cabin. This was a year before the tree man incident. I was doing the usual, shooting my targets, consuming disgusting amounts of nicotine and caffeine, but no tunes that day. Out of nowhere, I hear rustling from the bushes all around, and one by one, no less than a dozen of these little dudes appear from the forest. They have shiny black fur, monkey-like bodies, but pointy ears like a cat, and shiny green eyes. Some of them are holding sharp sticks. I think one of them just had a rock. My first reaction was that they were pretty cute. It takes me a second to realize that I've never seen these things before on any farm, nature reserve, or animal channel. And then I think, holy shit. The biggest in the group comes and takes a step or two closer to me and rears up and bares his chest. For some reason, I shout at it, doing my best impression of the baboons that are native to this area. It probably sounded extremely stupid. The big guy bares his fangs in retaliation and makes some sort of hissing noise. I feel like he's wanting to attack me, so I load a pellet into my air rifle and shoot at him. The second I pull the trigger, I realize what a dumb idea that was, because they could run up and attack me much faster than I could reload. Anyways, I completely miss, and they all scatter back into the woods. And for my second encounter, it was the holidays during this one, so my eco-friend, my pagan friend, are both staying at the house for a few days. My ecologist friend wants to go in the woods after hearing about my first gremlin encounter. My pagan friend would rather stay in the house and smoke weed. I don't like weed, so I thought, screw it. My eco-friend and I set off for the cabin, and from there, we go deeper into the woods. He takes my dad's binoculars off the shelf and shoves them in my bag. This feels like a little bit overkill for what we're doing, but it's a good idea, I guess. We walk for like 2 hours, being as quiet as possible, so we don't scare the little dudes away. I was getting tired at some point, so we sat down on a big-ass rock for a break. The rock is elevated just enough that we can see over most of the shrubs and stuff. We didn't talk, we just sat quietly and caught our breath. I zoned out completely when suddenly I hear my buddy whisper in the quietest, most still voice I've ever heard, to pass him the binoculars. Being as quiet as I can, I gently remove them from my satchel and I pass them over. He points them at a gap in between these tall gum trees, a sort of natural clearing. After looking for a while, he passes them to me. He's visibly shaking. I learned later this was from pure excitement. Sure enough, he spotted a single one of these little guys, hunched over in what looked like a little clay bowl. He was eating out of it. He'd stick his hand into the bowl, shove something into his mouth, look around while he was chewing, and then take another bite. I guess my eco-friend couldn't contain his excitement, because when he jumped off the rock, he stumbled and kinda ate shit. The noise of him falling makes the gremlin scatter. It looks like he left his bowl behind. We go to investigate the guy's little snack spot, and the bowl is super basic. It's poorly fashioned out of mud. And what was super weird was that the bowl was half full of dead ladybugs. My ecologist friend deduced that they must be mainly insectivores and clearly preferred ladybugs, but the fact they were able to make a bowl. And if all this stuff isn't weird enough as it is, there's also like non-cryptid weird things that would happen. For instance, there were a lot of animals that would show up that be completely white. I know that those could be just albino, but it's weird how it keeps happening. One in particular one was a very large white owl, and it's weird because there's no white owls native to the area. Similarly, we often spotted white bushbucks. Again, they could just be completely normal albino things, but it's weird that it happens so often. And a weird coincidence I guess I should mention is that this same owl flew into our sliding glass door at full speed the same day that my uncle received his terminal cancer diagnosis. We all chalked it up to a spooky coincidence. And as for the tree man, well, I only ever saw it one more time, while awake that is, but it was probably the worst thing that I went through at that farm. Back out of the cabin, months after the first encounter. At this stage, I'd all but forgotten about the tree man, kind of pushed it from my brain that it ever happened. I was out of the cabin at night. I hardly ever do this because I don't want to run into that lurker thing. I didn't really care tonight because my girlfriend had just broken up with me. I was in a bad mental state, and I had been drinking my sorrows away at my favorite spot all that day, brandy and Coca-Cola. While I'm drunk and depressed, I do notice that the moon looks amazing that night. Not only was the moon beautiful, it was a full moon, so it was surprisingly bright for like 8 p.m. I finish the brandy and stumble over to a tree. The second that I start peeing, I get pushed over. It feels like that I got kicked by a horse. I'm on my back, my pants are around my knees. I'm scrambling backwards, trying to see what hit me. I think I'm seeing double because the tree in front of me has 2 trunks. And then I think, wait, oh shit. I look up and the tree man is towering over me, blocking the moon. The only thing I can see now are those 2 glowing white eyes. One hand is outstretched, like he's about to grab my head. Immediately, I feel sober. I'm freezing, and my ears are ringing, loud as hell. He's really mad. I can feel it in the air. It feels like I'm paralyzed. I'm so focused on his glowing white eyes that I can't move. I can't snap out of it like last time. I'm basically just stuck there in a trance like this, either until he let me go or I passed out from exhaustion. I get woken up by my mother the next day, getting absolutely shat on for not coming home last night. The fact that I'm pantless, lying next to an empty liquor bottle certainly doesn't help. That day, I suffered the highest fever I've ever had. I spent most of the day puking. My eyes were practically swollen shut. I had baseball-sized bruises on my chest, back, and ass, and my back was also scratched all to hell. That night was burned into my brain. I dreamt about it for months after that, and while I never saw him again, I never could shake the feeling that the tree man was always watching me. I literally get intense anxiety or panic attacks if I stay deep in the woods for too long because it feels like that he's there. Hence, I moved to the beach. Things are a lot better now. It's been at least a year since I went back to the farm. A family member named William looks after it now. I'm pretty sure that he's aware of everything that goes on there, but he's very religious, so either they don't bother him or he just prays the spookies away. If I ever go back to the farm, my pagan friend says that I should start burying eggs, milk, and honey in the evening as a gift to the spirits in the forest. I'm actually considering doing it. While he scares the hell out of me, I feel like I want and need to apologize to the tree man and the gremlins, but not the lurker. F that thing. And I suppose before I go, I should elaborate too on my father's experience with the lurker. So, the interior perimeter fence was fully electrified then. It had these little plastic things that fasten the wires to the pole. They break often, and always at night too. This shorts the circuit out and makes the fence alarm go off. From our investigations, this almost always happened because something pushed its way between the bottom wire and the ground. I was thinking to myself that shriveled up lurker thing probably doesn't give 2 shits about a little shock. But anyways, every time this happened, My father and I would have to grab a spare plastic thing and some tools and walk the entire perimeter of the fence to find which one had broken this time. The first few times, we went out without any weapons or anything. But one night, the alarm goes off. I rush to the garage. My father puts on his shoes. We make it about 10 meters out the door when my father stops dead in his tracks. This is a hardened South African farmer. I've never seen this guy scared of anything. He just says, "Son, go inside." He spoke so deliberately, I didn't even question it. He follows me inside and emerges from his room a few seconds later with a shotgun. I hardly ever saw that man with a gun, but tonight he was basically a commando. We get back outside, and my dad points the gun into the distance. I follow where he's aiming, and sure enough, that lurker thing is gawking at us from behind a tree. Even worse, this tree is within the interior perimeter. Dad unloads on the thing. I know nothing about guns, but it's a pump-action one, and it holds like 8 rounds or 9 rounds or something. I know at least some of the buckshot connected because this thing goes screaming back under the fence and into the forest at full speed, leaving a few spots of muddy brown blood. I explained to him that was the thing outside my window. He says if he ever sees it again, he'll kill it and bury it in the septic tank. But yeah, that's all for my stories right now. I feel like I want to go back to the farm, and gun laws in South Africa are much more stringent than America, but if I can get my hands on a good rifle, my friend that looks after the farm now and I are going to go after that lurker thing, because again, it kills my livestock. I also eventually hope to see the gremlins again. They didn't really bother me, besides scaring me a couple times, and I really hope that they got away in that fire. And also, I want to make things right with the tree man. But yeah, that's all I have for now. So those encounters were pretty intense, weren't they? If there was one of them in particular that stuck out to you as being creepier than the other ones, let me know which one it was down in the comments. Do you have stories of your own? I have an email in the description that you can send them to if you'd like to. Also down there is a PayPal and a Patreon if you would like to support the channel that way. And of course, memberships and super thanks here on YouTube. And if you haven't already, then please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And comment and share and all that good stuff. And it's free. So, with all of that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you back here next week for those videos as well. And with that, I think I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Let's try and have a good week. And thank you for pulling up a stump too. And yeah, let's have a good week.